My name is Jeffrey Davis, and if you haven't figured it out, this is Radio Entrepreneurs. We've been all week at the JFK Museum in Main Street, Hyannis. Fabulous facility. I want to thank our hosts and John Allen and the staff of the facility. It's a fabulous place if you've never been here. Also want to thank our friends at Merrill Lynch Cape Cod. Done a great job. Our next guest, someone I'm very fond of. He's just, I don't know what he does for a living. I'm going to find out now. But he is a pleasure to be with. I love hanging out with him when I get to see him. Paul Soares of the Peg Company, right?
Kearsarge Peg Company.
The who?
Kearsarge Peg Company.
He didn't give me the name properly. That's the way it wrote it down.
That's okay.
But what is it?
Well, Kearsarge Peg Company was started in 1865, right after the Civil War.
1865.
Correct.
Yep.
And it was originally started at the base of Mount Kearsarge in New Hampshire, because when I was consulting for this business, which is how I got to know it, I kept saying, why is this place called Kearsarge Peg Company? Mount Kearsarge is 2 hours south of here. Well, as I got into the history of it, I found out Kearsarge Peg Company originally was built at the base of Mount Kearsarge, because they had
For a reason?
Yeah, there was a river there.
Yeah.
And the river was used as the power source for turning the
Right.
big wheel, which drove all the equipment in the mill.
Like the old mills, right?
Right. But now when I give history presentations, I go around giving history presentations on this mill, I will always stop and ask people, can anybody guess why the mill moved in 1878 from Andover, New Hampshire, at the base of Mount Kearsarge, all the way up to Bartlett, New Hampshire? And nobody has ever guessed it.
Because Canada was incorporated as a country, and they were worried about another war with Canada.
Yeah, that's about it. No, really, the reason they moved is because they ran out of wood. And if anybody knows Mount Kearsarge, there is no wood left on it. Because
Really?
they probably de-treed the place in order to provide the wood for the
I
this
should have
mill.
actually known that answer because I work with an organization that's planted over 200 million trees.
Yeah.
So
Well, they can use some up on Mount Kearsarge.
well, that's, America's pulled out a lot of trees.
Yeah. Although one kid guessed, I gave this presentation to a school, a sixth grade class of future entrepreneurs, believe it or not. That's what these kids were. They were gifted kids. And when I asked the question, one little boy raised his hand and says, I think I know the answer. And I said, well, how do you know the answer? He says, well, my grandparents live on Mount Kearsarge. And so I looked at him, I said, well, what do you see when you look at Mount Kearsarge? He goes, beautiful green grass, all the trees are gone. I said, you guessed
Like
it.
a ski hill,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So at any rate, they moved to Bartlett, New Hampshire in 1878. And just before they moved to Bartlett, New Hampshire, they bought this old steam engine, which they had actually
It only took them 13 years to take all the trees down.
well, yeah. And
Wow.
then they started to de-tree the White Mountain Forest at that point in time. But at any rate, when they moved in 1878, the mill started up, and there were once 3 shifts running in this mill. Now, 3 shifts is roughly about, there's about I want to say about 67 to 80 people working in this mill in 3 shifts. Because at the point in time, coming to the turn of the century, this was the largest exporter of shoe pegs in the world. At that point in time, they could not hold the heels and soles on the shoes any other way than with pegs. They would stick the pegs in a hole, they'd put water on them, they'd swell up, and you could not pull a sole off a shoe if it was held in with a peg. As a matter of fact, a couple months ago, a man from Virginia drove all the way up to the peg mill just to show me a pair of shoes that had Kearsarge Peg Company shoe pegs in it from the end of the Civil War.